This is gonna be a short and sweet episode. I cannot really tell you about the books I've been reading since they are all in upcoming vlogs. And I don't want to spoil that. And I've also been kind of monogamously knitting on one project. Like I've basically only knit on one, or I crocheted on one project, then got into a deep trouble that completely ruins my enthusiasm for that project. So I've then started knitting on one other, but mostly that one. I have a new cast on just because I'm finally allowed to walk more daily and really get my condition back up. So I needed a knitting project for treadmill knitting. So I have cast on another. But we're only going to talk about 3 projects today. So I hope you still enjoy it. If you're new here, I'm Denise, a knitter, crocheter and reader from the Netherlands. And today we're only gonna talk about knitting and crocheting. If I sound less enthusiastic than normally, or you feel like Denise, you sound off, it sounds scripted, that is probably because this is the second time I film it. I have previously filmed this chaotic update already, as well as edited it, and then I lost all the footage after 5 minutes after I've edited and was actually done with this video. So I'm re-recording it again. That's why you're getting this on Thursday instead of Tuesday. So yeah, sorry if I sound, maybe bored, maybe scripted. I have already done this. So especially, since I do 2 intros every single time. Yeah. I have been here and I've done it, but I really, really need your own advice on the project I should have been working on. So I'm refilming it because I want to get it out there and I want your advice. So let's start with what I'm wearing first. I am wearing my Danica sweater. This is a design by I Love Tinderbooks. It is half double crochet all over. It has a nice color, which makes it very comfy and cozy. That is definitely the feature I love the most about this sweater. But it's also on, I guess, I'm not sure anymore. But it's a thick yarn. So it goes really fast. And that is helpful. So I really like this sweater. The only thing that could improve it would be in pockets. Then let's talk about the project I should have been focusing on first. I also lost the footage of me trying it on, so I have to get out of this sweater and try this on. This is the Crochet Seaglass Tee by Wool and Pine Designs. And let me put it on because then you can immediately see my issue with it. It is extremely wide. So it's either going to be extremely wide or very low. And then it stands up. So this is how it lays the best, but then it still stands up here and this is too wide. I want it here. So I do not like the fit at all. I think mine is wide because I wasn't hitting gauge here. I made a gauge swatch. I was hitting gauge, but on a full sweater, apparently it changed again. So I have now gone up a needle size. I'm still not hitting gauge exactly. But it's better, and for under the arms and stuff, I can just measure it. It doesn't matter. However, because I was so bummed with this, I did look at the photos of the project, and a lot of people have extremely wide necklines. I don't know why the model doesn't have it, but it does seem to be that I'm not the only one with this problem. I also had the problem with this pattern that I had the stitch amount they were asking before the increase, and then if I did the increase as described, I would not hit the stitch number that I should have get after the increase row. Again, I looked on Ravelry and multiple people had that, and the response they got is that wasn't in the test knit. It didn't happen in the test knit. So I'm not saying the pattern doesn't work, but I do think it is fair to say that the pattern doesn't work for certain braids, because I have seen a lot of extreme wide necklines, and I have seen people also not getting the right stitch amount after increasing. I have continuously used a knitting calculator to calculate how I needed to do my increases. It was always different than stated in the pattern, and that is how I got to the right stitch amount. My problem is that I do not know how to fix this. I assume I could just get this border out and then crochet with the smaller hook that I started at the beginning above multiple rows and then decrease so it gets smaller. But I don't know how to calculate my numbers. To know how many rows I need or how many stitches I will need to get the correct neckline I want, and how to calculate how many rows and how many decreases every row. Like, I don't know how to do that. And it's sad because I really, really like this fabric. I like how it started looking. I really enjoy it. The only other thing I could do is rip it all back and start over. But I have some issues with that as well. First of all, it is going to be a pain because every row is 2 different strands. I've already cut them. I have crocheted over the ends in, so they're all, they're all done. And then the other point is that I do not trust this pattern anymore. It might be a good pattern, but it does not work for me. I do not want to start this again in like a tinier size because I just don't have trust anymore that it will work out. Which then I need another pattern, because this pattern is mostly about the technique to make this kind of fabric, to do the 1x1 color work. I know that technique now, so I can put it in other patterns. However, I do not have I don't have a crochet pattern with a round yoke in this gauge. All my round yoke crochet sweaters are bulky weight, Aran weight, like very, very much bigger. And then I have one rounded yoke sweater pattern knit-wise. And I'm not sure if that gauge is correct. And then the problem is I could block this and, see what my blocked gauge would be and just accept it as a very, very big swatch. But then if I go to knit it instead of crochet, it is going to be completely different again. Honestly, right now, I love this fabric, but I hate the fit. I have one pattern that I absolutely love the fit of, and that is the Lusk Tee by Rebecca Clow. Preferably, I would make this fabric in that pattern. However, that is a drop shoulder pattern. And I don't know if that will work with this 1x1 color work technique, because then the back and the front is probably not gonna line up until the underarms. And I don't know if that matters. There is a line on the back of stitches that divides it anyway. So I feel that might be good. But maybe it is gonna be ugly. I don't know. So this is really, really where I need your help. Like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna rip this all out? Then if I intend to knit it again, instead of crocheting, I can tie these into a magic knot ball, because the magic knot is how they do deal with all the ends in the knit sweater anyway. I don't fully trust the I don't fully trust the magic knot either. It works most of the time for me, but sometimes apparently I do it wrong and it doesn't hold. I can obviously glue a bit of all the knots, and then they will definitely stay. And I can do that before making the whole ball. Like, it's gonna be a pain, no matter what, right? Or do you say, like, this is still solvable, Denise? This is how you do the mat. If you know how to do the mat to save this, please let me know. I don't know. I might need to find another crochet pattern with a rounded yoke with this gauge. I just don't know where to go from here. I do think it is safe to say now that I don't like this. And I'm just at the part to split under the arms. I am not gonna finish this for the Breidagen. It is just not happening. It's the 7th and the 18th of October. It's not doable. And not knowing where to go. You know, I kind of lost steam on this. I want it. I love the fabric. I want a sweater like this, but not with this pattern. Unless you tell me how to save it, because I think I'm 2 rows away from joining on the arm and then doing the body. The body is just going to be straight down. That I can figure out myself. That is not a problem. So if you know the mat to save this sweater and, you know, make the neckline work, please. It would spare me so much pain if I did not have to take it out. But I don't think just continue crocheting this. I'm not gonna wear it. So I need some help, please. Because I lost steam on the sweater and I just don't know where to go from here, I decided to knit on the Sally dress wrap mostly. I am now unfortunately at a stage where the winter glow from Hobie is falling apart. This happens. It happened before with another cake of them. Both the twister and the winter glow I worked with previously had this problem. It is quite annoying, but normally I don't walk with this, so it isn't that bad. It's just on the couch. But for filming it is terrible. And I have to untangle it all when I get back. But this is how far I got. And this is a pleasure to work on. I never done mosaic color work before, and I was afraid it was gonna be hard, but actually it is way easier than traditional stranded color work. So if you're like me and like, I'm not sure, try it. It is so worth it. And the reason that it's easier is because you only work with one color every row. And the other colored stitches is just made with slipped stitches. The pattern for this is very easy to memorize. So yeah, I barely have to look at the pattern anymore. I have 2 more repeats to go. I just started the 4th repeat. The 5th, actually. And I need 6. So, and then I can do another color. I love this. It is turning out great. And it is so easy to knit on. It's such a joy. You immediately see, you know, it getting bigger and getting the pattern is so much fun. So I highly recommend this. If you know, they have it for mosaic. The mosaic color work technique is both for knitting and crochet. And I would recommend it. It is a joy to work on. And I decided to work on this project because I have just been treated. And if it is at all possible, I've been wanting to go to Disney for years. And I want to go during Halloween, which is the whole of October. So if it is at all possible, I would like to go to Disneyland in October. We will see if I can, because, you know, I just treated, and last time it worked for 4 weeks too, so I don't know if I can, but I figured let's just work on the Sally dress wrap. I was working on this for another vlog anyway, so it's like, let's prioritize it and see if I can get it done in case I am allowed to go to Disney. And then the third project is a pair of socks. Now that I have my treatment, I am allowed to try to get my condition back by walking. I am now allowed to walk 30 minutes twice a day. So I needed something super simple, super easy to do on the treadmill, so I don't get bored and it's easier for me to walk those minutes. Josephine, if you're watching this, please look away now. You can go to the next chapter, which will be acquisitions, which will just be 2 books. If you want to see the books I bought, go there. But please stop watching now. These are the socks. These are for my friend. They're going to be a Christmas gift. And I have decided to make them toe up this time. Just because I want to use up the whole skein if I can, because I want to make ribbed socks that are very high, very large. So it's kind of socks and leg warmers in one. And I chose this yarn because it looks like the Weasley family to me. It is Grundle Hot Socks yarn. I got it in surprise package from Hobie. They have those yarn surprise bags, and I picked the sock yarn surprise bag, and that's where I got all the Grundle skeins in. I got 4 Grundle skeins in that. This one, the foot is done. I am using 2.5mm needles, and I'm doing 56 stitches around. And this one I just started the toe. My friend's feet are a tiny bit bigger than mine, but she likes my socks. However, I do think that a short row heel will be too tight for her. So now I need to learn how to do the heel flap and gusset from toe down. I've never done that. Toe up. I've never done the heel flap and gusset from toe up. So I'm now just knitting on this foot, on the treadmill on this wheel. Try to be done tonight or tomorrow, so I can continue with the rib after the other feet. But it's fun to learn that heel in a different way for me, so I'm excited, and it's good to have something to do on the treadmill. Yeah, that were all the projects. I got 2 acquisitions and they're both books. And I will also be talking a tiny bit about the next book I need to read. The first book I got is The Strange Case of Harleen and Harley. This is a remix between Harley Quinn from DC, as well as The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The art looks so fall-esque and really good. I just really like it. So I'm eager to get started in this one. I am excited. I love Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and I love Harley Quinn, so this has to be good. And then I also got the Dance Macabre book. This is a book from the Efteling. The Efteling does this now for a couple of years, where they publish books with the story of their attractions. Most of their attractions have a lot of lore to them, a lot of story, and they now, you know, make these books that tell the stories of the attractions. This is the story of the newest attraction, Dance Macabre. I love that attraction. So, and the book looks gorgeous. It is fully illustrated with color. It has gilded edges. It is gold foiling on the cover. I am very, very excited to read the story now that I have seen the video of how they made the attraction. And I have seen some alright videos of the attraction. It looks so cool. So I really want to get the story. That were my acquisitions. The next book on my TBR is Impossible Creatures by Catherine Rundell. This is the Pinch of Mischief book club book of September. The Pinch of Mischief book club is a book club I host specifically to read middle grade. And we're gonna have the live show either at the end of September or at the beginning of October. The poll is currently still going. So if you haven't yet, you can still vote on the date that you would be available. So I haven't started it yet because I usually start it a week before the live show, so it's still fresh in my mind. But this will be one of the, one of the books I will get to the fastest next. And that was it. It wasn't much this week, so I hope you enjoyed it anyway. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe for more chaos from me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!